Okay, so we're gonna give it just one more minute and wait for folks to hop on the Zoom.
Milan, I like your background.
Yes, it was from this year's Juneteenth.
That is really nice. Very celebratory.
Yes. And of course, and being that we had to pivot this year to make it virtual, that was certainly a work of art.
Okay, so we're gonna start and our speakers in order are Supervisor Dave Cortese, our board president of the Santa Clara County Board of Supervisors, Cindy Chavez, and Milan Valentin, who's the executive director of the African American Community Service Agency. We were also hoping for Reverend Moore, president of NAACP Silicon Valley. He's having some technical issues, so hopefully he'll also join. And for any reporters who have questions, we're using the Q&A feature, so we won't have questions over the microphone, but you can just type your questions in the Q&A chat and I will be reading them out to everyone. So first I'll turn to Supervisor Cortese.
Okay, thank you, Tara. Thank you, everyone who's here as attendees. We appreciate it very much. Thank you, President Chavez, for leading the effort as president of our board through several public hearings and really a really challenging deliberation. This is history. This is the first time that Juneteenth has been declared a paid holiday in the state of California. And I understand that the Los Angeles City Council is considering it, but it's always good to beat LA. And especially if you're from Northern California, right, Milan? I trust you're not an LA fan here. You're a Northern California fan. All joking aside, and this is certainly not anything less than the most serious of matters at its heart. We heard so much testimony during the hearings that we had. I'm so proud of the Black community, the African American community here in Santa Clara County for fully engaging, for stepping up, and frankly for, I would say, asking would be a kind way of putting it. Demanding would be the appropriate way to put it. Demanding at a news conference that Supervisor Chavez and I held around Black Lives Matter and around declaring racism as a public health crisis. The community demanded that actions be taken, and that one action that could be taken immediately with immediate impact, immediate results, would be declaring Juneteenth a county holiday. And to follow up on that, and to be in a position to follow up on that, is certainly a great honor for me. But I'm very, very proud of the Board of Supervisors in this year 2020 to take this action ultimately unanimously, even after some very rigorous debate. And if there wasn't rigorous debate around something this serious, I think then we should all be concerned. And of course, any remaining concern was alleviated today when the board pretty concisely and again, quickly and appropriately finished the job of adopting the formal resolution that makes this a paid holiday. The reason it's an issue of such gravity, which I said earlier, is of course because we live in a country where we have been celebrating as a paid holiday the Declaration of Independence. Independence Day is what we call it, on July 4th of every year, a holiday that I love and I think so many of us find to be very endearing. But it's the celebration of a document that declared that all men are created equal. All persons are created equal is what we believe. And for many of us who have been elected officials and who have supported the African American Community Services Agency over the years, and they have been celebrating Juneteenth here for 39 consecutive years, to show up on Juneteenth for a festival, for outdoor celebrations, stating how important Juneteenth is, how important it was to finally achieve at least the paper emancipation of Black Americans in this country, just a few days before we turn around and celebrate the 4th of July, all the while knowing that for the duration of this country's existence, Black Americans have not been free. And I think that's what gives the gravity to this day and the significance to this day of not just making it an observance or a cultural day of special significance, but putting the same faith and credit behind this day in real dollars, in real significance that we do with any other paid holiday. I wish there was more that we could do at this moment, but that at least brings Juneteenth into a commensurate relationship with every other paid holiday of significance, not only in this county, but hopefully this will happen across the country as well. So thank you for your patience, which is an understatement to the Black community here in Santa Clara County and across the nation, but particularly here in the county. Thank you for keeping the faith. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for rallying. Thank you for demanding. Thank you for engaging. And thank you for being with us today. And I'll pause there, Tara, and pass the baton to the next speaker.
Thank you. So my name is Cindy Chavez. I'm president of the Board of Supervisors, and I want to start by just saying what a tremendous action the board took today unanimously. And it absolutely would not have happened without the leadership of Supervisor Dave Cortese and the African American Community Services Agency under your leadership, Milan, and frankly, the Black leadership of this community. And I want to just talk for a moment about why this is so important and why this work and our ability to collaborate on issues like this are really critical. Many people in our country right now, particularly African Americans and Black Americans, feel as though this is the first time they've been heard or seen in many years. And I think that the hue and cry across the country has been for equity, engagement, full participation in what the American dream is. Both with Black Lives Matter, the death of George Floyd, and many others really has lifted up this conversation. And one of the things I'm so excited about with Juneteenth is that it means that as a nation, that we're going to be taking a deep dive into our history. And I think as Americans, we can't be afraid of the past, because by understanding it, we build the present and the future we know America can be. And one of the reasons I'm so excited about Juneteenth, you know, it's always been celebrated here. I feel like it's been forever, maybe just as long as I've been around, which feels like a long time, Milan. But the African American Community Services Agency and a number of other cultural organizations have held this celebration in our county for years. And the opportunity that Supervisor Cortese brought to the board to make it a paid holiday says we really are demonstrating equity, engagement, and inclusivity. We're sharing that with our employees, and we're sharing it with the entire county. And so I'm just excited to be part of today, because I think it reflects how important the African American experience has been to the history of this country. And as importantly, what are the opportunities for today and for the future? So thank you for letting me join you. I think today is a wonderful day, a day to celebrate.
Okay, so next we have Milan Valentin, who's going to say a few words.
Good afternoon. First of all, I am excited on the inside. I'm also humbled at the same time, because As Maya Angelou said, I come as one, but I stand as 10,000. And it reminds me of those ancestors of mine who went through a lot of things so that I might be, that I might sit in this chair in front of all of you to represent a team, which is the African American Community Service Agency, to bask in this moment of recognition for, as you said, Supervisor Chavez, history. So first of all, let me thank Supervisor Dave Cortese for being a leader, a servant leader, and hearing our community in regards to what things we can do to reconcile what has occurred in American history, which Black history is American history. Board President Supervisor Chavez for holding these meetings and hearings for the Black community, the African ancestry community, all community members who right now are leaning on our leaders to make things right. One, within, yes, equity, within making things right, but hearing our voices on concerns. I know to some Juneteenth is just a celebration, but for us, it is a healing moment. It is one of the things that I learned, that I heard from the Kellogg's Foundation, I believe it was, it says how we heal. And how we heal is oftentimes in the Black community is getting together, seeing one another thriving, providing information that will help us get the equity that we deserve in America. And living here in Santa Clara County, which is, a duality of two worlds with the haves and the have-nots. And so Juneteenth has always been that place for small Black businesses to come and share what they are doing. It's been a place always for the county and the city of San Jose and Milpitas and Santa Clara and all these cities within our county to come and share how you can get access to things that you need. It has been a place to show art. It's been a place to show entertainment, things that African Americans have developed and created in this country and oftentimes still are fighting to get recognized for. And so I think that this moment at this time says that the children, to our grandparents, to all people, that now is the time to really learn about and show up at Juneteenth to engage in community and to share into this beautiful community that still is looking for barriers to be broken in all kinds of different ways. And so to those who think that, again, like I said, it's just a celebration, to the African American Community Service Agency and the years of committee meetings that we held here at the agency to put on a 2-day festival, might I add, in the downtown area for all to come was not in vain. It was definitely every year. And again, I started off as a volunteer here and fell in love with the community and the AACSA through Juneteenth. It was the celebration of our people. And so to have a unanimous vote, a dialogue about how are we going to cover the cost? Would it have these types of impact for community? It was worth every minute. As I have on my shirt today, game changers. That's what we are doing here in the community. And we look forward to celebrating the 40th Juneteenth on June 19th, 2021. It's going to be a celebration about education, connectivity, leveling equity, and making sure that we do it the right way for the 40th. So I'm going to invite everybody to come out. And again, we thank all of you, your staff, everybody that called in, Reverend Jeff Moore in the NAACP, SEIU, the historically Black fraternities and sororities located here, and several people who are allies of the Black community. Again, Juneteenth is a representation of freedom, and may we all continue to fight for that freedom together.
Okay, so again, you can ask your questions in the Q&A function. And we have our first question from Chris at ABC News. And their question is, what are the next steps forward now that Juneteenth has been declared a holiday for the county? Will there be county funded celebrations or education initiatives?
Let me just say, this is Dave Cortese. There are no more steps necessary. We adopted the final legal resolution today, so Juneteenth is officially a paid county holiday as of this moment. Although I think Supervisor Chavez has to actually sign the resolution that's present on the board. You will be doing that, right, Cindy?
Absolutely.
But technically, the board's voted and it's done. There is no swap. There was no swap. So it is actually the 13th holiday. We had 12 paid holidays prior to today. And then the idea that Juneteenth would be swapped in the first place was really a thought that was brought up as an alternative or option, I think, by one of our colleagues who really didn't specify Cesar Chavez Day, but simply said perhaps there is another holiday that we could swap with. And I think the reason some folks defaulted to thinking that might be Cesar Chavez Day is because most of the rest of the holidays that we honor or acknowledge are federal holidays. So it wouldn't be possible to swap anything else. And I think that was just an unfortunate misunderstanding that some folks sort of defaulted to the idea, well, if you're thinking about swapping, perhaps that's the one you're thinking about swapping for. But that was never seriously considered by the board or even any member of the board.
Okay, so you answered the second question too. So there are no more questions. Oh, there's one more question. And this is from Jana at Bay City News. And they're asking if this will affect city employees and if they will get a holiday by extension.
No, not yet. Unless the persuasive powers of the Board of Supervisors by extension convinces them that they should do it as well. I'm sure Supervisor Chavez is going to next go over and persuade Mayor Ricardo that he ought to be doing the same thing. And I'm sure Milan, Valentin, and the Black Kitchen Cabinet and the NAACP will be right alongside. So I'm happy to join in the chorus. But no, this is a county paid holiday. We would like it to be a federal paid holiday. We hope that happens at some point, but we also know that if all the cities and all the counties on their own adopt resolutions like we did today, then we will have knitted together a tapestry across the country that essentially makes it a de facto national holiday. And that's what our hope is. We hope, as we've done in the past, that this county by its actions today, have a tremendous impactful influence on other cities and counties that that are thinking about doing the same thing. We don't mind being first.
Okay, and just a couple follow-up questions. One is if there will be, just to clarify about county-funded celebrations around Juneteenth, and I know Milan can even speak to that. Would you like to say a few words?
Yes. So one of the clarifications that I know occurred during the hearings was around what is already happening in our county. And Juneteenth, as was stated, has been celebrated for 39 years. If you see behind me, my backdrop is from the 39th celebration, which due to COVID-19, we had to lean on the wisdom of our ancestors and the current generation to figure out what could we do to celebrate Juneteenth. And we held our 39th Juneteenth virtually. And you can look up on everything on BayAreaJuneteenth.org. We always have an education before the celebration. And this year we talked definitely about the history of Juneteenth, but also how can we improve the lives of everyone here. So in 2021, as we plan the celebration and engage county employees as they take that day off, to encourage them to look into the history of Juneteenth, encouraging them to come to Juneteenth, bringing their families, being that we pray and hope that COVID-19 is a thing of the past by the time we get to June 19, 2021, that the celebration and the festival usually is a week-long events leading up to the festival. So normally during the week, we start off with spoken word, and that is to allow those either with the art of spoken word to talk about what they're feeling. It's a soapbox to be able to use the artistry of connecting what is going on in their world to share, and that is always open to the community. We, again, followed up with economic development and empowerment, where we partner with local institutions, our national institutions, to talk about economic empowerment, financial education, investments. Certainly been educating the community on Black home ownership and how do we increase that in our county. We're trying to make sure that Santa Clara County doesn't become a Black exodus, which I learned from one of my favorite professors, Dr. Stephen Milner at San Jose State University, and how Juneteenth has always been about that. So leading up to the festival, we're going to be working with the county, and the county has sponsored Juneteenth, might I add. At least I've been with the agency for a total of 17 years. I'll be 10 years as executive director at the end of this year. But the county has always been a support to Juneteenth, has attended, has sent out groups to be present, to pass out information. And that includes making sure that everyone is registered to vote. Making sure that people get information regarding social services, and you name it, you can find it at Juneteenth. So we're going to definitely make sure that we work with the county on the 2021 40th celebration, and continuing to make sure that everybody finds out about what's going on here in Santa Clara County.
Thank you so much. So we just have a few minutes left. I know the supervisors have to get back to their meeting. So just as our last question, someone wanted to clarify if June 19th will actually be our day off. So if someone wants to clarify that.
The answer to that is yes. It will be the 19th, and it will be a paid holiday. And I do want to add one point that Milan just raised. Under Supervisor Cortese's leadership, the staff has also been directed to work with specifically the African American Community Services Agency and other members of the community to really help us think about the educational materials and the promotion of Juneteenth as part of the action taken today. And I again want to say to Milan, congratulations, and to the Black Kitchen Cabinet, and also to Reverend Moore, and also just to say, Supervisor Cortese, thank you for hanging in there and getting this over the finish line.
Well, thank you so much, everyone. So we are going to close our media availability, and thanks for everyone who hopped on.
Thank you all.
Wear your masks, wash your hands.
Be safe.
Save the date, Juneteenth.
Yay! Congratulations.